Hey everybody, Ambakana here. First of all, thank you very much for registering for this webinar on how to create your very own automatic property acquisition machine that shows you exactly how to develop profitable properties, even if you have never invested before or even if you have no experience in property development whatsoever. This webinar is dramatically different from others you might have been attending in the past because it is literally designed to be like a miniature condensed masterclass. Here's what we are going to learn today. You'll learn about the exact system I used to create over $1 million in equity and cash between 2013 and 2014 without having any prior experience in property investment and or development in Australia. It is my goal for you to leave this training fully aware to take the next steps with 100% precision. Furthermore, if you are already investing actively, you'll learn how to gain and maintain the edge in the property investment arena, irrespective of market ups and downs, market cycles, and stringent lending conditions as we are all experiencing now. You'll get a close look at the automatic property acquisition machine and how it can help you generate wealth via property. You'll discover each moving part of the property development system I used to go from newbie to successfully developing 7 projects worth a combined $35.9 million in just under 5 years, including one no money down deal that put $273,000 in my pocket. And I'm also going to share with you my top 3 property development secrets. So get your worksheets ready. We'll walk you through the webinar and you'll be able to answer all these questions that are in the worksheet. But before we go further, let me ask you a few more questions. Does this actually sound like you? You are looking to be financially free in the next 5 to 8 years, or you are an avid property investor and you want to take your skills and wealth to the next level, and you've spent or are spending your time and money going through one property seminar after another, sweating up a storm and spending a fortune. Or you want to cut short to your retirement and go straight for the results. Let me ask you another question. Have you ever thought about doing your own property development project? Or did you ever want to make money via property, but had no idea exactly where to begin, or you lack the confidence mainly because of lack of knowledge? Or have you been paying for all these expensive courses only to find out that they lack the complete information? Now, if you've answered yes to any of these questions, then I know exactly how you feel. So instead of you spending your next 5 years doing the same thing, I actually want to give you my best of the best property strategy that's industry standard and draws from my practical experience, my experience in the trenches, my expertise, my knowledge base that I have used not only to create the automatic property acquisition machine for myself, but also create the property development system that enabled me to execute projects behind the automatic property acquisition machine. Now I'm going to take out all the filler, all the fluff, and give you the essence, so you don't have to do all that hard work that I've already done. You get the right knowledge from the very beginning. Interested? Here's why this webinar is important for you now. First, most property investment strategies that you've been learning so far are dead wrong. You need to know the one strategy in the post-GFC world, in the post-APRA stringent lending conditions world, that you can master and you can execute. You need to understand how you can continue making cash and equity in any market condition, irrespective of what the market is doing. Market saturation, the problem is that there's a lot of market saturation with all the property development courses, and people have just become immune to property education. But you have to remember that the game has changed. This is the age of wisdom, not information. There is plenty of information available, and there are a lot of people giving this information out, but you got to be smarter and wiser in the way you actually use the information now. So what I'm going to do is quickly introduce you to myself before we go further. So I'm the creator of Property Development System. I'm known as the creator of Property Development System, and I'm also the co-founder of Maven Builders and Maven Developments. You can check me out on the website. And I'm just about 2 weeks away from launching my another website called propertymogul.net. When it is out and it's launched, you will get a notification. And this is my family. I've got a son and a daughter. My son's almost 16. My daughter is almost 10. I have a dog called Milo, and I have a beautiful wife that I'm very happy with. Yeah, but 5 years ago, I actually moved back to Australia from overseas, and I was desperate to make some money. And all I knew was that I had to do something in property. So like many of you, I paid for all these expensive courses, seminars, and hyped up promises and got nowhere. Needless to say, like many of you, I felt dejected, and now I could have quit, but nobody ever got rich by being a quitter. And somehow this quote from T.S. Eliot kept me going. Only those who risk going too far can find out how far they can go, and it is so true. So I made 3 decisions. Basically, first, I dedicated myself to learning everything there was about property investment and development. Second, I took action and calculated risk and jumped into one project after another. So it wasn't like I was jumping without looking. I was actually taking calculated risk, doing my due diligence, going over stuff again and again and again, and checking numbers again and again and again. And I basically resolved that it's not over until I win. In the past 5 years, I have been through the desert. Drank all my water, ate all my food, and then I also ate my camel as well. I've been in the trenches. I have literally been to every property seminar in Australia, whether it was cash flow positive or property options or lose your shirt in mining towns. Believe it or not, there was a seminar. There were not one seminar, there were many seminars like that, and I've been to them, especially when mining was booming. Renovate and sell, or vendor financing, or buy property with $1, or rent to buy, or replace your income with cash flow positive property, and property development, and real estate millionaires, and etc., etc., you name it. I've actually basically been to every one of them. I've studied almost every property strategy in detail, and I continue to do so via self-learning and constant professional development. I've spent numerous hours researching the internet, looking for that ultimate property investment strategy that not only made me equity, but something additional so I could make a living from it. I paid over $45,000 to 2 different property gurus for one-on-one mentoring, spent another $65,000 on various property courses, books, university textbooks, diplomas and certificates, and as well as a lot of online coaching. I even tried to find out if there were certain subjects that I could undertake at uni, because I wanted to do certain subjects, and those certain subjects were offered in masters of property and all of that. And I tried to find out if I could only do a handful of subjects. Like there were 3 or 4 subjects. Those are the subjects that I haven't done, and I already have a master's in business, and most of the subjects were a repeat from that, and I only wanted to hone in on that. But unfortunately, the university didn't allow me, so I ended up buying all these textbooks to understand property like a nerd, basically. So the result is I now hold all these qualifications: the industry diploma in property development, master's in business administration, you name it, certificate 4, diploma in finance and mortgage broking, and REIV agents representative, and so on. And apart from holding all this all these qualifications, I've now completed projects worth over 35.9 million plus. And the thing is, you see, I wanted to buy a fruit-bearing apple tree, but it turns out that you can't buy a fully mature one. The only option you have is to buy a small one and grow it. Now, you could think big, but we all have no choice but to start small. And that's exactly what I did. I started small, and today, 5 years later, I can reap the apples of my labor. And today, I'm planting an orchard. I'm literally working on bigger and better projects. And I have created my APAM, my very own automatic property acquisition machine. And but to get me there, I actually needed a system. Now, before I get into all this system and everything, I wanted to establish certain house rules. First of all, I refuse to do anything that panders to get rich quick mentality. Although I have experienced the get rich quick moment, which was preceded by years of hard work and toil that I put in. So if you're looking for a do nothing, make a ton of cash, magical formulated wealth system, or if your guide to riches in the galaxy, or if you're looking for something like that, this is not a place for it. This is real world, real projects that provide real value for real people. I'm not run or controlled by a marketing company that calls the shots behind the scenes for me. And creating your APAM actually takes a lot of time and hard work. There are no fake experts. I only preach what I do every day at work in my construction and development company. I do not have a builder's license. but I co-own a construction company with a project manager and a licensed builder, where I own where my own money is actually on the line, and I manage and control my building contracts for all my developments. Used to be's make no honey. I have done and achieved everything in the post GFC world, and I continue to do so irrespective of the market. It's not like I did something once upon a time and now I teach. No, it's not like that. I teach in the evenings, and during the day I work like a dog to actually make sure that all my developments and all my projects land where they're supposed to land. In fact, I've actually signed 3 contracts with longer settlements to keep my pipeline full for the next year. Earlier I threw a very large number at you, something like 1 million plus. I think it should be fairly obvious, but I'll say it anyway. My results certainly aren't remotely typical. I have no idea what the average property developer makes, but it is my hope that everyone will have such results. In fact, I really hope that everyone will do better than what I've done, because you now have a system that you can follow without trying to create a system on your own. Some of my students who've been following the system are already kicking some great big goals. But the fact of the matter is that it is my unsubstantiated opinion that most people who buy any type of property education product do not make any money at all. And I believe that the same reason applies to the people who buy the treadmill and don't lose weight as the direct result of staring at their treadmill with their laundry drying over it. I know all this stuff is self-evident, but it is very, very important that I make it clear to you. So everyone who else is still with me, and I hope that it is the majority of the viewers today, let's go to work. So, automatic property acquisition machine. Let's see what it looks like and how it works. So basically, what is an APAM? So APAM is a portfolio of equity-rich investment properties that after a certain point operates like an automatic property acquisition machine, enabling a snowball effect to automatically acquire more investment properties by leveraging the income and equity from the existing portfolio. So, benefits of having an APAM. First of all, it gives you financial freedom. And financial freedom could actually be different for a lot of people, but for me, it's the ability to spend my time doing what I love without worrying about my expenses. It gives you scalability. No matter what your starting position is, you can scale it to the next level, and you have the flexibility to scale down when you feel you have achieved financial freedom. It gives you certainty for you and your family, but APAM on its own doesn't provide certainty. It comes from the system that's actually behind APAM. So there are 6 pillars of APAM, and I really need you to, if you've got your worksheets, note them down. The first one is, these 6 pillars are actually laws of APAM, and you must follow them. So the first one is basically, never risk all your money in one project. Always have a buffer. I never have all my eggs in one basket. It's the same thing. Always partner with somebody to do a project, even if you can afford to do the project on your own. Never ever do a project on your own unless you think that you are in your comfort zone. So everybody has a different level of comfort. Always do a project in partnership with somebody. All the projects that I've done, that I put together, whether it's no money, done deal, everything, I had other people in the project with me. Although in one of the projects I actually had everything invested, but I always made sure that there was a buffer for me if something went wrong. So never gamble with your last dollar, basically. So pillar number 2, mitigate project risk from the onset. So this whole industry is about managing, containing, and transferring risk. So we will get into these details later in the property development course, but I want you to understand this. Always mitigate risk in the project from the onset, and you do that in a systematic way. Pillar number 3, be able to continue doing projects irrespective of where the market is at. The whole system is designed so that you can continue doing projects one after another, even if irrespective of where the market is at. So pillar 4, generate enough equity from projects to acquire an unencumbered property every 2 to 3 years. Now this is very different to what a lot of property gurus teach. It is basically hold as much property as possible with as little money as possible and for as long as possible. I'm not in that boat, and my strategies are very different. So if you don't gel with that strategy, no problem at all the best to you. But my strategies are about creating unencumbered properties and having, and I don't sit and wait on them. So pillar 5, you borrow money only when it makes you money. That is, only have good debt. I never borrow money to go on a holiday. I never borrow money to buy Christmas presents. I never borrow money for vacations. I mean, I've already said that. I never borrow money to buy a new car. I borrow money for nothing, because in this industry, I need to make sure that my serviceability is fully intact at all the time. So I don't have any kind of unnecessary debt. Pillar 6, create borrowing capacity irrespective of lending conditions, like interest rates, stress rates, and other regulations imposed by lenders. That is, you get the banks to actually love you. Let's look at APAM in action on real properties that I've developed. This is a project, this is one of my first projects. It started off as a first project, but by the time it finished, I'd actually completed 3 other projects along the same time, because this was a big kahuna. It was like, people start with a duplex. I started with a 9 apartment building. So there's no such thing as I can't do this because I haven't done that. No, I didn't do that. I went straight for the big project and didn't worry about developing a duplex. But that's just me, because I have developed all the systems and everything's in the background as well. So what does it look like? 9 apartments in Brisbane, project duration almost 3 years. My profit share in the project was about 284K. The total project profit was 569. I owned 50% of the project. Development margin was about 15.55%. We started off, our feasibility started off somewhere around 19, but we hit a snag. There were some issues with the stormwater when hooking up with the legal point of discharge. So we lost a bit of money there because there were unforeseen latent expenses that no matter what we did, we couldn't do it. There was something that we had not known before. So as I said, it doesn't mean that it was a bad project. Even if I had known that this was going to happen, I would have still done the project, because if you look at the profit that came from the project, was fantastic, good enough for me. Project GRV was about 4.23 million, and I actually held one of the units there. The market value of the unit was maybe about 70 grand, and the cost of the developer was about 406 or something, about $80,000 profit per unit in that project. So what I'm trying to show you is that how each project flows into another project and how the equity works. So let's go down. This is a no money down project for me. This is 16 apartments in Fitzroy in Victoria. We didn't end up developing the project. Why? Because the project gave us 1.3 million even just by getting a permit. So you got to have different strategies. You got to know that if you get a good profit up front, you sell it off and you move on. It's because this is not your first and your last project that you're ever going to do. So it is all about turning over and keep churning out projects. So 16 apartments took about 2 years. My profit share was about 273. This is my no money down deal. I didn't put any money in this project. So the total project profit was about 1.3 mil. 79 One Turner Road, Ringwood. This wasn't, I didn't have any money in the project. I only got like a project management fee, and this was a project that me and my builder and my other project manager, we got together, and to get it off the ground, to get the construction company going. So the construction, we wouldn't get insurance, we wouldn't get enough insurance to be able to do the project. So we had to do a small 2-unit development and build it ourselves to get the construction company going. So I only made maybe 20,000 in the 4-month period then when we were actually building the project. So yeah, that was one of it. This is a 3-bedroom, 3 townhouse development, 3 4-bedders in Chelsea. And it was a 12-month project straight from signing the project and to actually building and handing it over. It was 12 months straight. I got the project with plans and permits, but the profit share was about 83,000 in the project. 70 Newington Parade, Chelsea, with 4 luxury townhouses again right next to the beach, and project duration was about 12 months again. This was supposed to be a JV with the landowner, but it didn't work out. The landowner decided to get the land value and move on. So yeah, the development margin was 11.75. Why? Because my interest costs were too much in this, because at the time I didn't quite have that kind of serviceability to show. So we had to go to a third-tier lender, and they are you've got to learn how to swim with the sharks and not get eaten by them. So we did a project with them, and that's why, because the interest costs were too high, the development margin fell down a bit. So this is 230 Station Street. This is 12 townhouses, and from 4 I jumped straight to a 12 townhouse project. And this project, I'm keeping one unit. Again, my profit share in that is about 230. It's the cost of property to me, it's about 584. Profit per unit is about 115. My share from the rest of the development is about 115 as well. And the market value is about 700, even at 70% LVR. I only need a deposit of 210, which is less than my, basically it's less than my money that I've got. So I have about 20,000 surplus left. So if I go this way, this is what I can do. But what I plan on doing is actually option 2 and combine this with one of my units in Brisbane and access more equity, which is about 819, that I can continue doing it. Again, going back to the pillars, that you got to make sure that you can keep doing more projects as you go along. So development margin on this project is about 19.7. The entire project is done, dusted, sold. So yeah, 4 into 3 bedroom townhouses. This is already in the pipeline, and the profit share, my profit share in the project is about 72. The development margin is about 16.41. This is an 8 apartment project, which we basically get a development management fee. This project is for an investor and another big mob that we are now doing projects with. So this is 8 apartments in Mordialloc. This is about to start construction in the next couple of months, and the development margin there is about 17.76%. Now, if you look at the entire APAM and see how we churned out projects, I turned over 40 million. This includes the 2 projects that are in the pipeline that are not completed as yet, and the total duration is 2013 to 2017, and that's almost 5 years. So because by the end of 2013 we would have almost built both of them as well. So total project profit is about 5.25. Total profit share in project 1 to 6 is about 1,031,000, and the total profit in the pipeline projects is about another 204k. So this is all set for the next year. I've acquired 2 properties in that, property 1, and these are the market values of it, so totals that. So if I wanted to go, and because of stringent lending conditions, I only got an LVR of 70%. I can still access 615,000 and put it towards my next project. Now, I want to give you 3 more property investment secrets that you need to know if you want to be a successful property developer. You remember the 3 secrets I promised? Here they are. First, control at least one of the 3 assets. Number 1, land. Basically, if you control the land, then your task is driven by supply. That is, you have a site that's looking for a use. That means you've already got the land and it's looking for some use on it. Control the knowledge, which is task is driven by demand. That is, you have the brains that is know how to use a site, and you know how to use a site, but you are actually looking for a site. And number 3, if you control the capital, then you have a choice. In my scenario, I had a bit of this, just a bit, not too much, and I basically went for knowledge to control it. So that's secret number 1. If you control any of these 3 things, your tasks and your job actually starts becoming easier. If you control more than one of them, it actually becomes a lot easier. So secret number 2 is get your numbers right and track them like a hawk. I can't stress this enough. Get your numbers, recheck your numbers, then recheck your numbers, then recheck the rechecked numbers once again. And you track them every week. Every week you track them. And secret number 3, you follow the system to the letter. You don't jump hoops. You don't cut corners. You basically you basically have to follow the system and not take any shortcuts. So, do you want to bring these secrets to your life and in your own property development projects? And would you like my help to implement this system and create your own automatic property acquisition machine? If you do, then please shoot me an email at support@propertydevelopmentsystem.com.au, and we'll schedule a call, have a casual conversation with you, and figure out what your goals are and how soon you would want to achieve those goals, and we'll go from there. If you find that we are not a good fit for each other, no problem at all. I still wish you all the very best in your journey.